I think you've got to leave that in now.
I'm going to leave that in. That's so brilliant. You should hear some of the things that people say, and I just leave it in.
This podcast is sponsored by Genelec. If you've ever been disappointed with the way your mixes sound on other playback systems, then check out Genelec's Unio monitoring ecosystem. By providing a seamless bridge between loudspeaker and headphone monitoring, Unio allows you to quickly create great-sounding mixes that translate consistently wherever you choose to work. No more guesswork, no more surprises. Just truthful, accurate audio monitoring from stereo to immersive. To find out more, visit genelec.com/unio, spelled UNIO. Your mixes will thank you for it.
Welcome to the Production Expert Podcast. I'm Ashea, and in this edition, I'm joined by Eloise Whitmore and Tony Chernside. Eloise has been working in radio for 20 years, and in 2013, she won the Radio Sound Designer and Producer of the Year award. She and Tony actually run Naked Productions, which is an incredibly successful sound design and storytelling production company with a lot of BBC radio programmes and other radio award-winning programmes under their belt. Tony is a multi-award-winning sound designer and technical producer behind the acclaimed satirical BBC Radio 4 comedy, The Skewer. I'm very excited to have them on the show. Well, welcome to the podcast, both of you.
Hello.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. So could you, before we get into the main podcast, could you tell listeners a bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm Eloise Whitmore, and next to me is Tony Chernside, who will say hello in a second. And we run an independent company together called Naked Productions. We predominantly make audio content for the BBC and Audible and iHeart, but we also do sound installations for companies like National Trust and Commonwealth War Graves, and we do occasional walking tours. What else do we do, Tony?
Anything that's telling stories with sound. Really.
Telling stories with sound.
I love that. That's really good. When did you decide to use that tagline? Because I think telling stories, we always talk about how important storytelling is on the podcast.
I'm not sure. I think maybe Tony came up with that one, but originally when I started sound designing, I talked a lot in terms of painting pictures with sound and very building layers and, painting sound worlds.
Beautiful. I like that very much. Tony?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name's Tony Chernside. I'm a radio producer, sound designer. Sort of the industry, the radio industry is such that you kind of you can be a specialist in all of the roles involved in making audio content for radio. I've been into audio and into sound for as long as I can remember. And I do sound design and composition and production and lots of boring admin stuff as well.
We've come from two very different routes as well, so we complement each other quite well. I came from art college and didn't go via the traditional. Even though I was at the BBC for 10 years, I didn't go via the traditional how to train an SM route. Whereas Tony's background is very technical. He has a PhD. He's always reminding me he's a doctor. There's a lot of teasing goes on around that, Dr. Chernside. But he has a background in Tony. Explain more about your PhD and.
So I come from quite a technical background. From an acoustics, I did a music and acoustics degree at university. Wow. And. I went on to do a PhD in audio production and how kind of production intention and audience consumption kind of works when you're working in newer formats like object-based formats.
That's fascinating. And obviously I really don't know as much as you do at all about acoustics, but they are, from what I have, looked into, it's a fascinating topic.
It is. There's lots of very complicated mathematics that I haven't had to do for many years now. I think I'd get quite a brain workout if I went back to some of my master's notes.
I bet. And also, you both work on the Skewer, right?
I don't. It's all Tony Chernside.
Oh, Tony, I see.
Yes, we've just finished the series actually. And it's probably the thing I spend most of my time doing. And it's a thing I enjoy doing most. It's brilliant working on the Skewer. It's so I work really closely with John Holmes, who is the producer. From the beginning, we made a pilot 15 series ago. We made a pilot for Radio 4. At that point, we didn't really know what it was going to be. John had this idea that it was going to be a kind of news satire, but very sound design and music led, and as much about kind of the sound as it is about the kind of written jokes that are in it. And we kind of made a pilot, and it went down quite well. And since then, we've found its feet. It's got a bit of a cult following. It's won a trolley load of awards. So yeah, people seem to like it, and we really like making it.
I'm not surprised. I've actually I heard it recently, and for those who love sort of political satire, pop culture, and music sort of mashed up into total barminess, this is definitely the thing to listen to, and I just think it's great. It
is, and it's all on BBC Sounds, so you can go and listen right back almost to the. I think the first series has dropped off now because there's a window on there, but pretty much every single other episode is on there. It's and it is really, it's very kind of quite dense in terms of the listen. There's a lot going on. We did one series where we were making 28-minute episodes, but the vast majority of the episodes are 14 minutes long, and I don't think we've ever delivered an episode that's not been exactly 14 minutes long. So we squeeze every last second out of it that we can.
The Production Expert Podcast is made possible using the new Source Nexus suite from Source Elements, the professional way to collaborate over the internet, along with high-definition, low-latency audio and video. Need to record an interview or a podcast, or collaborate with others for songwriting, review and approval, remote editing, and more. With Source Nexus Suite, using any browser, you'll get studio-quality audio and video, along with custom-built tools for seamless integration with your DAW. Pricing starts at free. Get your account today at sourceelements.com.
Yeah, I bet. And so that's a really interesting topic is I wanted to do a day in the life for both of you. So I think talking about the Skewer and sort of a day in the life of making the Skewer would be great for you, Tony, and Eloise, any project that you think would be great to talk about. But yeah, just maybe walk us through a typical kind of work day for you.
I'll let Eloise go first.
Tony's Skewer days are sort of very intense for 3 solid days, whereas my days are a bit more Monday to Friday. A day in the life for me is most of my time is spent mixing, predominantly mixing, but obviously sometimes we are on location recording drama. Sometimes we are in studio recording drama. We work at a studio called the Fish Factory in London, which we actually treat like a location. So we don't use the mixing desk. It's an amazing studio in an old fish factory,
Wow.
with lots of different rooms and staircases, and it's a music studio mainly, but there's so many different spaces that we can make it work really well for drama. So we arrive with our location kit and we treat the whole space like a location. So probably a quarter of our time is recording and 3/4 is mixing. So for me, it's if I'm not making something that has been a commission for our company, then I work quite often with the BBC long-form audio teams making series such as Putin, which was out at the beginning of this year, and Lockerbie, which is about to come out. I work with BBC Scotland, which is about to come out in the next month, I think.
Ah, very nice. Yeah, anything else you'd like to add? I'm particularly interested because we don't really talk about sort of recording on location a lot on this podcast. So yeah, could you sort of delve a bit deeper into what goes on with that?
Yeah, so our location technique, we've moved away from the tradition of actors working around a microphone and working to the mic and coming in and out of the mic. And we tend to follow the action as if the microphone is a camera. So we ask the actors to think in terms of shots. So a close-up shot, a mid-shot, a long shot. And basically it's me chasing the actors around with a Neumann 191 microphone, which I absolutely love. I don't know if they make them anymore, but I absolutely love it. And we're following the movement, and we tend to, whoever's the central character of the scene, we tend to follow their action, and then the other actors will block the scene, so they'll come in and go out depending on what's happening. So if they're running through a factory, I have them running through a factory. If they're in the water, I have them in the water. I have put actors in a water park before in wetsuits, mic them up. If they're in bed, we put them in bed. So we really like that documentary sound, and we think it sounds. We really like the rawness of it. We think it sounds very real.
Yeah, I can imagine, and you get quite a workout.
You do. During lockdown, we recorded a drama. We created our equivalent of the Bake Off bubble, and we took all our actors to a farm in Yorkshire. Basically, everyone was tested. Everyone got there. We stayed for a week. Once you left, you couldn't come back. and we recorded a whole horror series for Audible on a farm in Yorkshire. So it's similar principles to being in studio at the Fish Factory, but the Fish Factory, we have slightly more control of passing police cars and helicopters and things. So most of our days with the actors, but at the end of a week of recording, if we're doing a series, my favourite bit is all the Foley. So we get to record all the stabbing vegetables and any other Foley type effects we might need. I do like destroying vegetables.
That sounds really fun, actually.
It is.
One of the real big advantages, well, there's a few advantages to recording the way that we do it. The first one is kind of twofold, really. That because the actors are giving more of a performance in terms of their movement and how and the sounds that the other parts of their bodies make. You know, their clothing, the movement of their clothing, and stuff like that. All of that is captured when you're recording, so it creates a really authentic sound. It's not like, I mean, a lot of sounds are added afterwards, but not to the level you'd have to if you were doing dry recordings in a dead room in a studio, for example. So the one benefit of doing it like that is you capture all these sounds at the same time. It means that the sound sounds really authentic. But the other thing is, in my experience, I think it helps the performance of the actors because they are putting themselves into it more. It's not like they're stood in a room in front of a screen with a microphone. They're actually there. Moving, and their being out of breath isn't always acting because we are making them move around when they're running, for example.
Yeah, so actually it's just really good for the performance and the believability.
Yeah. Actors really, really enjoy it. They're always quite shocked if they haven't worked with us before or work with a company that works in a similar way. But the actors really like that they don't have to learn the lines because it's radio drama and we use iPads for the script these days. But also they are, it's the physicality. So I really think you hear it in the performance.
So I assume they're not used to working like that then?
No, because there's been a real change since lockdown. Most dramas, I'd say, were recorded in studio around a mic or on location with a boom mic pre-lockdown. what lockdown introduced was that once we've recorded, if the actors are recorded on mono mics, you basically in post-production can make it sound like it's anywhere. So we recorded a play like that recently because most of it was set in space, and I needed to have my actors floating around in space. So we actually recorded all the actors on mono mics, and it means that in post-production you can make it sound like you've got ultimate control basically. Sorry, you'll have to cut this out. I'm having a menopause moment. What was I starting to say?
I think you got to leave that in now.
I'm going to leave that in. That's so brilliant. You should hear some of the things that people say, and I just leave it in if you're happy.
No, honestly, you can leave that in. Sorry. Okay. So what I was saying, I remember now, is lockdown introduced how easy it was for actors to record at home with their own setup, or actors to be recorded on mono mics, and it all works and we can make it sound however we want to in post-production. What it means is that if you do record the actors on mono mics, and it also means that actors don't need to be recorded at the same time. I think you can hear it in performance. But if you want that big name and they're only available for one afternoon next Tuesday, whereas the rest of the cast are available at a different time, it does mean that you can have that big name, and then you make it all work in post.
I think some producers prefer it because it adds that flexibility. I think some actors might prefer it because it means that they can fit stuff more easily around their schedule. But actually, when we get actors in the studio performing around a microphone, all in the same space, they always say they love it. They always say it's brilliant.
Yeah, it does sound really fun, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And sorry, going back to your original question of why they would show up and it would be a surprise, if they have only made radio drama in the last 5 years. Most companies now, Audible, that's how they record their actors. They are recorded on mono mics for the ultimate control in post-production.
This podcast is sponsored by Genelec. If you've ever been disappointed with the way your mixes sound on other playback systems, then check out Genelec's Unio monitoring ecosystem. By providing a seamless bridge between loudspeaker and headphone monitoring, Unio allows you to quickly create great-sounding mixes that translate consistently wherever you choose to work. No more guesswork, no more surprises. Just truthful, accurate audio monitoring from stereo to immersive. To find out more, visit genelec.com/unio, spelled UNIO. Your mixes will thank you for it.
Let's go to you, Tony, for a day in the life of the Skewer, and we can maybe return back to some of those really interesting points.
Yeah, so a day in the life of a Skewer, I'll talk you over, I'm rather than give you a day, let me give you roughly a week in the life of the Skewer, because it's a late night satire that goes out on Radio 4, normally at 11:15 on a Wednesday night. It's always a Wednesday night, and I don't know why it's always a Wednesday night, but my experience of doing it so far is Wednesday day is the day when all political news happens. so we are always, the more stuff seems to happen on a Tuesday and a Wednesday with Prime Minister's Question Time or whatever political fallout is going on. It seems those days are busier days. And it makes our life harder and more interesting because we're putting something together which actually is probably one of the most laboured 15 minutes of radio that you'll get. It's certainly in terms of the edit and the mix and the sound and the music.
There's a lot in there, isn't there?
There is, there's a big great team behind it, and it's open to anyone if they've got an idea and wants to submit an idea, something funny. It's anyone can throw ideas in, and they'll get credited, and they'll get paid for their time if they're successful in terms of coming up with a great idea. For example, Eloise was talking about lockdown before. During lockdown, we were one of the programs that was actually able to carry on going without really changing anything about how we make it, because we don't record anything with a microphone. It's all clips. It's all music that's cut up, scenes that are cut up, news that's cut up. So we could carry on going. And just to give an example of how people can contribute to the Skewer, during lockdown, we had someone send an idea into us. It was right at the time of Matt Hancock being in charge of the NHS, and it all like creaking under the stress that it was under. And also at the same time, the repair shop was really popular on TV. So someone came up with the idea and said, well, what if you cut up a scene with some clips of Matt Hancock taking the NHS to the repair shop? So of course we found an episode of the repair shop where one of the guests on it was called Matt. So we could cut up the interview with him saying, how broken things are, and them saying, oh, what a state this is in, how are we going to sort it out? But that's just an idea that comes in from someone a listener to the Skewer that sent it in for us to create something with. So one of the things about it, which is interesting, and Eloise and I talk a bit about this, because the kind of programs that she spends most of her time making aren't these really fast turnaround programs that you've got to get a lot done in a very short period of time, and quite a lot of the projects that she works are longer, which means you can spend a lot more time thinking about, is this right? Or do we need to change this? Maybe we can improve this. Maybe we can improve that, which is something which we don't have time to do on the Skewer, because we've got a deadline to get it to Radio 4 on a Wednesday evening for it to be broadcast later that night. So one of the things that John and I have got very good at now is kind of building the show over those 4 days before broadcast, but building it in such a way that we can take it to pieces and put it back together again very quickly with the latest clips and the latest twist on the story. So one of the ones I think in the last series that we were really pleased with was it was the penultimate week of the series, and it was the week that Keir Starmer, it wasn't clear how long he was going to last. The local election results were just in, and it was disastrous for Labour. So yes. Wes Streeting was coming out saying, he's going to resign in the morning, and he's going to mount a leadership campaign. Andy Burnham, of course, was making noises about how he was going to get back into frontline politics. So we used a track by the Streets, "Dry Your Eyes, Mate," which is the core, and the whole song finishes with "You've got to walk away now." And that was at the point we picked that track at the point where Starmer was saying, "I'm not going to walk away. I'm here. I'm in it." But everyone around him was calling for him to walk away. And we put that together in the knowledge that we wouldn't actually have to change too much about this if he came out on the Wednesday and said, I'm standing down. My last day is this. He didn't do that. So we didn't have to re-engineer the whole thing, thankfully. But we've gotten quite good now at building things that we can quickly change, and it retains its kind of this being really, really like hot off the press. But at the same time, we have had the time to craft it and make it sound really good, and mix it so it all just sounds like that's how it should be.
It's so fun. So yeah, it sounds really fun, and it kind of brings up a question about workflow. I imagine your workflow is quite different.
I think. It's similar in that we're both Pro Tools users, and I forced John to start using Pro Tools for the Skewer just so we could share sessions between us.
Oh yeah, what was he using before?
I think he was using Audacity before.
The Audacity.
Yes.
Of using Audacity.
And he I think he realises his error in his ways now. but we've got similar sessions, as in Eloise and I can both pick up each other's sessions and kind of understand what's going on and where things are rooted and how, the effects are working and all that kind of stuff. The Skewer is maybe slightly more complicated than some of the other kind of more traditional features that I've done, in that there's a lot of music creation in the Skewer. And I've got oodles of virtual instrument tracks in the same session that I'm mixing the program in. So it's a bit more complicated in that sense.
Do you have any go-to plugins that you use or gear?
I have a session set up with like multi-verb reverbs in the aux ears, and some delays, because in the Skewer there's lots of effects on the speech, lots of delays, lots of reverbs, lots of reversey stuff, lots of kind of modulation. So I think John coined the phrase "a river of sound" to describe what the Skewer is. So whilst it is a sketch show in effect, because we are cutting up news stories with kind of pop culture references, and it is put together like a sketch show. It has a running order that we kind of play around a bit with to get it in the right order, but it feels like a one single whole thing. So it's knitted together, and there are references and throwbacks, and it flows. It needs to just flow like a river. So that I use a lot of plugin and effects and virtual instrument sounds bridging between these sketches, so it doesn't feel like they're different chapters.
Yeah. So you keep that sort of same template in Pro Tools, I imagine, or you don't sort of chop and change all that much in terms of reverbs.
Probably not. I mean, I've got a like a Stream Deck thing with a few different modes that I can hit, and it will bring up a different window configuration. And I've got with different plugins dotted around the screen so that I can quickly access presets, but because it's a faster turnaround, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of presets that are there that are go-tos, because I don't have time. What I tend to do is I tend to set the tempo of the session to change between the different sections, so it matches the music tempo for each of those sessions, so that all the effects that I use that have like a tempo element, like delays and stuff, match whatever's going on at the time.
I use a lot less plugins than Tony, but we both absolutely love the Altiverb. We love the Audio Ease boys, don't we?
Oh yeah.
We really love Altiverb. And in drama, speakerphone gets used quite often, and Footsbox, and Velshimmer for reverb. We love I really love the Avid the Pro Limiter, and the compressors. My sessions I'd say are more simple than yours, but sometimes I open Tony's sessions and I just look at it and go, if it's a Skewer session anyway.
Yeah,
the rest of them make sense. And I guess the change over the years has been that we automate a lot more than we used to. 20 years ago when I started at the BBC, it was I can't remember what version of Pro Tools that was, 5 maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
But everything had to be baked in because the computers couldn't cope with anything being automated. So it's been great having that automation control over the last sort of 10, 15 years maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Production Expert Podcast is made possible using the new Source Nexus suite from Source Elements, the professional way to collaborate over the internet, along with high definition, low latency audio and video. Need to record an interview or a podcast, or collaborate with others for songwriting, review and approval, remote editing, and more. With Source Nexus suite, using any browser, you'll get studio quality audio and video, along with custom built tools for seamless integration with your DAW. Pricing starts at free. Get your account today at sourceelements.com.
Backups. Now we're on the subject. How do you file sharing? Are any tips that you can give? Because everyone loves a good backup story.
We work from Dropbox, which means that we can share sessions. There's sort of 3 or 4 of us working together, and we can jump into each other's sessions. And it's not uncommon to get a phone call late at night asking us to make a quick change to a program before it airs. So any of us can pick those up, and then we every so often we do a big backup and a big archive to at the moment.
Well, Dropbox, we were on quite a good deal with Dropbox, but they stopped doing it a couple of years ago. So we had an unlimited space on Dropbox. So it led us to be very lazy about clearing stuff out, and we're at the point now where that's not on offer anymore. So we're gonna have to go through our Dropbox. And just make sure that we're archiving some of the stuff that we've not used for as long.
Once the program's been broadcast, and it's sort of a year or 18 months later, we start archiving to drives. It's still on Dropbox, but just so that we have a backup somewhere.
That's that kind of sounds similar a little bit to my sort of file organization practice. Do you ever use Time Machine to sort of have an additional backup, or do you just?
Yes, we have time. I have Time Machine running on my computer, which it doesn't have the whole of Dropbox on, because I select which projects where I sync certain projects. Tony, do you use Time Machine?
I've got Time Machine, but it doesn't use that. It doesn't back up any of the like big files, because I just don't have enough space. I mean, our Dropbox has got terabytes upon terabytes of audio in it, so we are kind of trusting Dropbox, and it seems pretty good in terms of, because even if you delete stuff from there, you can go back and recover it and all that kind of stuff.
Which has been needed on occasion where we've shared a session with a producer who's accidentally deleted everything.
Wow.
So it has been that has been used a number of times, and we also have 2 terabytes of sound effects. So that's quite a big
2 terabytes, and then the virtual instruments. Again, terabytes of virtual instruments. That at the moment I've got most of it squeezed onto my laptop, because I mostly work from a laptop. Yeah. Plugged into a screen, obviously, but which is just I'm annoyingly full. So I've got a 4 terabyte laptop that's pretty much full all the time, and then a 4 terabyte kind of like slightly bigger than a credit card sized disc with virtual instruments on. So it does take up a lot. I know it's not video, but it does take up a lot of space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know how you feel with being sort of on the verge of being completely full. Every single project that I open is now, do I need to free up a bit more space, or is it going to collapse on me? That's all we have time for, but thank you very much to Eloise and Tony, and we'll be back next time for another edition of the Production Expert Podcast.